All right, looks like the door has closed, and that's my cue to begin the proceedings for the evening. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. It's great to be here in Bengaluru to meet all of you, to hear your stories of excellence. Welcome to Accelerating Startup Growth Through Data-Driven Innovation.
Digital natives and as founders of this ecosystem, there are so many priorities that all of you are running after. And the concept in the current macroeconomic environment of doing more with less. I think that's an overarching theme across all that we are trying to do. So what are we trying to do to be able to give differentiated products to our customers, what they want based on the continuous feedback that we are getting from them? What are we trying to do to improve our operational excellence, right? And that is based on the way our organization is working internally, so that ultimately we can ensure that we get the right marketing insights to reach the right targeted audience and provide the best of products, at the same time continually grow our business.
For me, startup, the word means innovation, disruption. I think in history, 10 years from now, probably each one of you will represent a generation where people will be inspired with what you do. So congratulations on the kind of stuff that you do. I also want to thank our partners, Microsoft, Mint, for having us over here. We want to make sure that we share the innovation that we've done with partners like you. I'm not calling you customers for a reason, because in this journey you will need a partner. You will not need a vendor. If you want a single source of truth, if you want to remain open source, where you only pay for the processing time, not for other tools, we are the company. This is not about, Databricks has a great lakehouse story. No, the story is, can we help you become a data forward company? And what role are we playing as partners? My mantra is solve, not sell. If we can't solve your problems, we can't be existing in this.
Interesting to see how this peer-to-peer session brings out how these challenges can be tackled. So I'm going to come down to the floor and ask some questions to all the brands that have joined us. Broadly, how have you seen the data landscape evolve? Because at the end of the day, that's a more organic exchange of data, right? Somebody who wants a job is going to be freer in terms of sharing data with you.
We actually are a data matching company if you think about hiring. Over the last 2 years, our company is 3 years old, so we also learned on what we need to do. And what we realized is we used to capture very little information on both the sides.
So recruitment is one of the things you can, simplifying recruitment is one of the things you can do with our software. Primarily enterprise SaaS software company, and we focus on enterprise orchestration. We focus on orchestrating things that falls through the cracks of all the large applications. Today, in today's world, there is an application for everything. And what we think falls through the cracks is orchestration, and that's what we focus on.
The journey is continuing, but then data has been key in this journey. We would have never reached this far without focusing on data literacy, as a data-driven culture. And I think that is the primary challenge as well. So I want to know from the companies here as to how they face up to risk, how do they manage risk, and how do they use it to their benefit, where practices come into play and make their enterprises much, much more resilient.
Now, coming to the risk, yes, because the data is exploded in nature within Risha Monday today, because we have exploded in business. What we are doing today is let the data get generated wherever it is, but people having access to that data should be through a single data pipeline that we have built over a period of time. You build any engineering team, let them build whatever they want to build. All the data goes to the data pipeline, and that becomes your single source of truth.
So establishing a single source of truth, and then we keep on talking about data-driven adoption. So there is an old mindset. Everyone wants to be data-driven, but they don't know how. So catching up with stakeholders and making them understand, okay, what are their KPIs and how a real-time analytics solution can help them. That is one of the most important things.
For us, considering now we are a 7-year-old startup, what's happened for us is we've gone through a big journey of data. Initially, it was, hey, let's get all the data. Then we realized, hey, you know what? Most of this data is not worth it, because these are the same people who are, interacting. Back when we started, Geo wasn't a thing, and COVID hadn't happened. So once Geo and COVID happened, we had a lot more users who were activated suddenly. We had so many more truckers, installing our apps and starting sharing data with us.
We enabled WhatsApp that brought in a lot more people. So that's where we started working with both structured and unstructured data, bringing it into structured format and doing things around it.
So I'll just divide this into two parts. Right? One is on the instrumentation bit. Second is on the application bit, right? So general philosophy is you collect data at all touch points, right? And then you then process it. So little bit decouple your applications and then instrumentation, so that you instrument as much as data possible, because data that's lost once is lost forever. Now, in terms of applications, these can come from various ways, right? So one, of course, the context is going to come from business and from the customers. That's where the context is going to come from. And those applications will kind of drive on how do you process this data, where do you store them, what kind of models you build on top of it, how do you build your predictive solutions. So that's the applications part. However, there is an emerging concept of dark data, and which we are also kind of very seriously investing in, is there are some amount of data which is not used but occupying your space, and that's where cost comes into picture. Cost comes into picture, adoption comes into picture as well. So how do you deal with dark data would be the third part of it. So the instrumentation, application and dark data is how I would answer you.
On that note, let's move on to our next segment.
For InMobi, we are taking another bold step where we are making AML as a top priority. That means data, access to data, and who accesses data, and what kind of intelligence that we can bring on top of data is topmost priority.
So how have you seen the role of data evolve in your company, and what's your view of where this industry is headed vis-a-vis data and using data and doing more with data?
I think you must all be knowing about Myntra, right? As in, we are catering to a mass premium fashion market. We are India's largest fashion tech company. We are a tech-first fashion company, right? And data is very central to everything that we do, right? So the data and ML platform team at Myntra, we have a seat at the table for every critical business initiative that is there, right? And that forces us to keep looking at ways to modernize our data and ML platform.
We are committed to ensuring that we provide the best of capabilities, not just internally that we build out at Microsoft, but we also want to ensure that we partner very deeply with partners like Databricks and OpenAI for that matter, right? And bring those capabilities and services in our platform. So what that means is, as a customer and a partner of Azure, you really don't have to kind of go to different parties and contracts and paperwork. You get the best of Spark on Databricks on Azure right here.
Thank you, Shanu. Thank you, Raghu. I just want to thank on behalf of both Databricks as well as Microsoft.
On that note, ladies and gentlemen, we come to the end of this very wonderful event, and we hope this event makes you think differently about data and how to leverage the possibilities of data for your enterprise. On that note, we wrap up this gathering. Thank you so much again to you, the audience. Give yourselves a round of applause.